Hey everybody, you're seeing Jack under a drum at this moment. He is sniffing the oil, coconut oil that's in my hand, because if you are watching this video, you will watch me oil this drum. So this is a bison hide drum that my wife Gabby made 2 years ago. And if you'd like to hear some tonal samples of this drum, you can check out some of the previous videos that I've made on it linked below. Otherwise, it sounds really good and it looks awesome as well. I love how it looks, but I do believe it needs to be conditioned slightly. So we are going to condition this drum with some coconut oil. So the idea is to go light in this situation. You don't want to just throw a bunch of oil on here and go whole hog. We're looking to get it a little moist and spread the wealth. It helps to have warm hands to melt all of this oil in. Plus it's summer. That also helps to do this in a warm time of year. But it's starting to get spread around pretty well, so I'm about ready for another mitten full of oil. You can see the color has changed significantly already. I don't know if you can get a comparison to the side there, but maybe that's the old, this is the new. So as you can see, just a little bit of oil goes a long way. You just want to penetrate the surface and then work on the edges. You want things not to be too messy, so sometimes you'll have to clean it out of the little cracks. All right, so that's pretty much the face of the drum. It takes about a minute, minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes to do the entire thing. But the backside, I would be willing to say it's probably even more crucial because all of these tie points are what are keeping this thing together. And at this point, it's kind of molded in this shape. So it's not 100% relying on this structure to keep everything together. But in order to keep it tight when you're banging on it, you do need this structure here, and it needs to be not broken. And in order to keep it semi-pliable, we're going to oil it just a little bit. So we will go ahead and be very delicate and oil these tines here and see if we can just make this a little more pliable for the long haul. We also live in Utah in the United States, which is a very dry climate. I believe it's maybe the 4th driest state in the United States. And that will also have a vast difference on how this drum will react over time as compared to, say, Washington or New York or somewhere with a warmer or somewhere with a wetter climate, rather. We definitely have a warm climate here. It's just that it's a bit dry for things like leathers and certain synthetics, rubbers like that also dry up really, really easily here in just the Utah desert. You don't even need to be in the sun. Yeah, these are super dry. I'm almost all the way around, and I've still got a little bit of oil, so that should be enough. I think this is my last one here. I want to get these little contact points here. This is where I was experiencing, I think at least, is where I was experiencing some rattling of this drum. When I hit it, some of these things are so tight that when the hide shakes, it kind of rattles against 2 dry bits, and that produces a rattle. So hopefully this will mitigate the rattling as well as provide long-lasting life to this hide to provide all kinds of interesting sounds. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. So the last part is this central cross here, and you can hear it. There's some shaky parts in here, so we're just going to go ahead and try to get as much oil in these crevices as possible. This part, I'm not as concerned about over oiling. You can see I'm being a bit more liberal with my application because there's so many little nooks and crannies here, and it really, I don't think you can over moisturize this holding part. It's not going to loosen up to the point where it affects the tone too much on this drum. Maybe a micro tone or something like that, but I think just applying this amount of oil will really help make this thing a little more supple in the long run. So I've got a lot of extra oil on my hand, as you can see. So I don't necessarily think it's important to do the backside, but I'm going to just wipe excess oil just on that surface, so I guess I don't waste any, and it's not as important to get this surface, but it doesn't hurt either. And you can see that a lot of this oil has absorbed already. So I'm just going to go one more round and just kind of spread this towards the center. Little friction never hurts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and consider that done for the purpose of this video. So I don't know if this is up your alley as far as content, but if it is, I would love to hear what you think about the process of oiling this drum or any hide drum. Hey folks, Future Tanner here. One day in the future, in fact. This is the very next day after oiling this drum, and I wanted to capture a sound sample before letting you go today. So I'm going to go ahead and hear what this thing sounds like after one full day of, I guess, marinating in this oil. And just to recap, it was 100% coconut, organic coconut oil, and I don't think that's the only oil that you can use, but that's the oil that I chose to use. And just looking at it, it looks like it's fuller and deeper. It just looks better, and the sound is very noticeably different. So just for reference, I have the same exact Audio-Technica 4033 SE microphone right here, and nothing has changed. I have the same exact settings, so I'm just going to go ahead and bang on this thing and hear what it sounds like after the leather has been cured with some oil. So here we go. So again, looking at the waveform, this thing is louder, and I don't know what attributes to the drum being louder after it's oiled, but it resonates better perhaps, and it's louder. And I don't think it's peaking the audio on this track, but the gain is exactly where it was yesterday, and it's noticeably higher in the register of the waveform. So there you go, little factoid that I did not expect. I thought, if anything, the sound would be deeper because it would loosen up the fibers just a hair and make the tone a little deeper. So that's something that I'll have to go A/B comparison to see if I can tell a difference. But I just wanted to sneak this in here at the end and get a sound sample. So there you go. If you have any experience with a drum like this, and maybe you've had an experience where it's cracked or broken on you, I'd love to hear how that happened, or if you caught it before it broke, how you were able to prevent it. So I'm really interested in this topic. Let me know if you have any experience yourself in the comments below. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe this video. That always helps for deciding what content to provide in the future. And I will see you on the next one.